How we doing, everybody? How's my Goombas doing out there, right? So let's get started here. We're doing the tile as we all saw in the last video as far as getting the prep work done. All we did was pretty much put the straight edge and this way we can put the tile in place. But now we got to get ready. Before we put the adhesive up, I always like to make my cut pieces. So a lot of people get nervous. How do you make these cuts, right? So you got your wetsaw, which we have here, and there's other ways of doing it, which I'll go into other videos. But when you subscribe, I'm basically going to give you this contractor that I dealt with a lot of years back. This is the enclosure here for the wetsaw. Great idea. Contractor in the business, a good friend of mine. Pretty much been using it on a lot of jobs that we've done. Do a lot of work, interior work, as far as a lot of times. It's cold out as it is right now in the New York area. So you want to bring the saw inside. But again, when you're doing the work for the homeowners, you don't want to wind up causing a mess. Can't be cutting the wetsaw inside of a home. So what we do is we happen to come across, we met up with this contractor here. He has his patent on this idea. We added a couple other things that we need to do, especially I need a little bit more light as I'm getting older. Sometimes you got to make sure you can see the measurements properly, right? We also had a fan here during the summertime as far as, keep it cool, but also sometimes you get some dust. So you want to make sure that you have the proper setup. So the wetsaw has a reservoir which holds the water. You have a diamond blade here that's on the wetsaw. What happens is once we put the saw on, you're basically going to wind up having where, of course, the blade is going to wind up going to cut the tile. You want to keep the blade as cool as it can be, so this way, at least when you're cutting the tile, it keeps it cool, it doesn't crack, and you get a straight cut. A lot of times the blade can get very hot, there's no water, it can wind up causing the tile to crack while you're making that cut. So what we do, typical, take a measurement, and you get whatever size you want. Right now we're doing a 5 3/4 cut that we need. So we take the measurement from the edge and we come off to 5 3/4. What we'll do is we'll line up that tile and we'll make sure that we could get the 5 3/4 right to where the blade is. We already made the mark on the tile. Now I'll line it up right where my blade is, and I'll put the saw on and we'll make that cut. So there you go, 5 3/4 is the cut. Now, a lot of times some people will say, what is another way of doing it? You put the pencil mark on there, but the pencil mark will wind up, it could disappear. So what we'll do, we'll get ourselves a piece of painter's tape, and we'll put the tape on the actual tile. So this way we can take our measurement. So you put your painter's tape in an area where you believe is going to wind up being close to your measurement as you can. Hopefully we're close at 5 3/4. Let's take a look at that. Okay, we're not that far off. We need another glue piece. So put your piece on. Okay, got that set. Now we take our measurement and we got it on the tape. We put 5 3/4. Reason for that is a lot of times people say, yeah, but when you cut it, the actual pencil mark disappeared. Well, it's not going to disappear on the tape, right? So now we'll wind up taking back the plate. We'll put the tile in place on the plate, get it close to the blade. 5 3/4 is what our measuring said, right? And now we'll run it through. There we go, another 5 3/4. So now what do you do with this piece? Not waste, we got to make use of this piece, right? So we need to get a 5 3/4 mark, but how do you do that when the towel is wet? So what we like to do, we'll take the measurement at 5 3/4. We're not using the tape this time, but we'll get it here, 5 3/4. We'll make our mark on the towel, but now the towel is wet, right? The measurement's gonna wash off. How do you achieve that? Take your straight edge, block, whatever you may wind up using. You line that up to your blade, right? And then you have that, but you wanna make sure that this doesn't move. So now you clamp it down, and there you go. Cut your piece. Keep that straight edge in place at any time. So this way, at least as you cut, you will have consistent 5 3/4. So now if I was to take the cut piece from the previous tile and I just put it up against the straight edge here, and I run it through the blade, I'll still have the 5 3/4 without even making a mark. Little tricks of the trade as we go along. You will have some cuts done at the with the wet saw, with the water and the reservoir. And on the next couple of videos, I will show you some other cuts that we will make on the hand cutter as well as with the grinder. So subscribe to the channel, and as we go along, you will see the work as we the progress of the work as we go along. Right now, we're taking care of that laundry area. We are in the New York area, a contracting company, actually doing all our bathrooms and kitchens and tile installations. Like I said, you give us a call, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see what we can do. We can come out, we can take a look and see what type of work you're looking to have done. If you subscribe to the channel, if you have any questions, please put it on the bottom and give us some information. I'd like to get some feedback. I'd like to know if there's other contractors out there doing some type of tile work. Maybe you like what I'm doing, maybe you dislike what I'm doing. But again, I always am open to some questions. Hopefully we get some good feedback. And again, a lot of times some people may give me some other information, which it would be good for me as well. Like I said, I'm doing it for a lot of years, and look forward to hearing from you. All right, so give me a shout back, let me know, subscribe to the channel, and I'll hope to see you soon. Take care, you have a good night.